Well, it was a nice month while it lasted. Rest in peace, new microphone. Lyrical Halloween, or whatever it's called, just came out, so I thought it was only fair to do my first deck guide of the official 54 card format on one of the idols. You all thought I'd be starting with the Bag Medusa, but don't forget what I said a few times here on this channel. I like tall girls, and I really haven't discussed my previous Lyrical deck. She's still relevant, I don't care. Nightmare dolls are basically giant dolls. Don't worry, I still plan on doing a full Sienna review, and maybe get some gameplay videos in. But today, we're talking Lilfa, because she also got a few upgrades this set, and if you can't wait for that Sienna vid to drop, or enjoy this new style of deck guide, be sure to drop a like so I know to do more, and maybe subscribe if you enjoy what I do here. Anyways, let's break it down. The one true Vanguard idol. Of course, as always, we gotta start things off with the Rideline. Start as a starter, the name does matter here because as you'll see in a little bit, we do need to have some Lilfas in Soul. Grade 1 says that when you ride on her with the Grade 2, you're able to call a Grade 2 or greater from your hand to the back row center and give it a boosty boost. So right from turn 2, we're playing a bunch of Grade 3s. Kind of. Oh yeah, I need to draw a card off of this, I almost forgot about that. Then when the Grade 3 rides over the Grade 2, you're able to bounce a Grade 2 or greater back to your hand, which instantly cycles the cost of the Grade 1, and you can get some cool on-call effect thingies. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Then finally, the Grade 3 herself has two different skills. First of all is by paying a Soul Blast, you're able to use all of your back row cards to boost, including Grade 2s and Grade 3s. This means that you can be hitting some pretty big numbers because without activating any skills at all, you're looking at like a normal 23, 26k on any swing ever, and that's going to force that trigger on even most unpowered attacks. Now with her main skill, after she attacks, if you do have those 3 back row cards that are Grade 2 or greater, you counterblast 1, choose a card in the front row and back row, bounce them back to your hand, then you get to Superior Call a Grade 3 to an open circle. This will give you multi-attack in the deck, so you're looking at a minimum 4 attack turn, and there is of course some strategy based on how to bounce cards around because you are able to get 5th attack in very situational situations. To quote Philip in the latest Top Deck Heroes test, you gotta think with your thinking skills. A lot. So in general, the base of this deck is that you'll be getting at least 4 attacks a turn, and those attacks should be hitting some pretty decent numbers. It's Lyrical Bastion. Of course, like I said, this deck did get some new sauce here in set 4, so let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. Actually, I kind of like this one a lot. That one too. You already knew that. First of all, the main card that this specific unit got was Elf. She has elf ears, I guess. Who basically says that when it's called from hand, if your Vanguard is in fact Lilfa, you're able to call another Grade 3 to the back row circle and give it a boost. Then based on when you call it, you get a different skill. So if you call during the main phase, you draw a card, thus making the call a complete wash and leave within your deck. And if you happen to call during battle phase, that card gets a +10. The main skill of this kind of makes it a Grade 3 Melty, who's a staple in most Lyrical decks. I guess you could run in here, but ultimately she calls something that's your Vanguard's grade or lower, and with this deck being chock full of almost as many Grade 3s as Bastion was before set 13, you're not going to be running it until the time that you'd be placing her down anyways, so run Melty if you want. I'm just going to say that it's like doubling up on something that you already have. That said, there is cute combos that you can do with this, that we'll get more into later in the combo section. Next up, we have a card that honestly I didn't know existed until I got a frame rate of it in my box, and that is Olga here, who is real simple skill, just happens to be a 15k shield if you have 3 or more Grade 2 or greater rear guards. So basically just a free 15k Grade 2 booster, 10k, whatever you want to do in the deck. Tech 1 or 2, whatever you have room for, it's just more guard if you need more guard. And you can play it a turn earlier because Grade 2 turn don't really do anything in this deck, so... Then we got cycle cards. I only have one of them because I didn't pull the other one. I don't want to buy the other one. It's expensive. Help support me on this channel so I can buy more things. TCG player and of course raise energy. Code Scourge, 50%. Bing, thumbs up, double thumbs up. It's a squeaky thing. So this is just your carbuncle for the deck. Obviously it gets a 15k shield. Once again, guild is helpful. This is basically a 20k guardian. And if you do use this other effect, you're able to get back a copy of your Persona Ride from your drop zone. This is really good because, as you'll see, once we get to multi-attack stuff, you want power up as much as possible. So I do like having as many Persona Ride turns as possible. Yeah, the other one's Draga. I'm just gonna... For all sake and purposes, the only effect that matters in this build is the second one, which kind of lasts one and give it +10. It does the thing if you play an order that turn. We don't really play orders, so whatever. The most important part is that if you can pay the cost to draw a card and give it +10, therefore making it a 20k attacker that lets you draw cards. Pick them up, I guess. It's not gonna be a cheap. Just like the other grade 2 that you run. The bunny boy girl. This is your discard Persona Ride cycle card, and if you have a Persona Ride, you can counterblast 1, give your front row +5. Once again, buffing up your things, and if you want to be cute, you could bounce them back to hand with the grade 3 skill, then call it again. Counterblast again. Really don't counterblast that much, aside from the Vanguard's actual skill and like one other card I'll show you in a second. So, as a CB2, make your Persona Ride 20k. Then, of course, the last cycle card that we run is the grade 3 one, whatever her name is. I forgot. It's your +10/+10 if they hit a trigger, and then you can Soul Blast to use 1 or 2 skills. First of all, you can bounce the card behind her back to your hand. Great if you need to add a little more defense, if you have a grade 2 back there or something. And of course, the more important effect, if you have one of those cool overtrigger things in your drop zone, you could take a card from your hand and call it the circle. It gives you another attack. You're looking at a maximum of 6 attacks in deck if you're able to pull this off. If not, you still have 4 to 5 attacks, so you don't care. Basically just a 10k, helps out defensively, helps out offensively, and lets you bounce a card if you need to. Alright, now that we have the basics out of the way and got rid of all the cycle cards, let's go ahead and talk about the actual pieces that make the deck function. Go Lost Island, go Lost Island, go Lost Island, go Lost Island! First of all, even though this deck is grade 3 centric, we do have 2 very central grade 2 units. Starting off with Paravalor. That's why I said having the grade 0 also be a Lilfa actually matters. Because when she's placed, you can take a Lilfa card from your drop zone, shove it back in Soul, and give her a +5. So 15k recycles your Lilfas back in Soul. Optimally, you always want to Soul Blast the Lilfa for your Lilfa skill, just so you can mousey it back to hand, or, shove it back in with this check. 15k recyclable. And of course, you always bounce it back with Lilfa yourself, and you essentially have an infinite loop of Lilfa activation. Because you go Soul Blast the Lilfa, put the Lilfa back in Soul, bounce her back to hand, Soul Blast the Lilfa, put the Lilfa back in Soul, bounce her back to hand, put the Lilfa back in Soul, bounce her back to hand. Of course, probably the other win condition to the deck is this girl with the big old hat, and this is the reason why I said you get 5 attacks. Because when you're able to bounce some cards back to hand by your grade 3 or greater's ability, counterblast 1, put this in Soul, draw a card, choose up to 1 grade 3 card from your hand, and call it to an open circle. This, of course, does make your 5 attacks. However, there's a very, very particular way you have to do it. I'll say more when we get to the combo section, but basically, depending on where she is, she'll leave an extra open circle for your card to be called in. And that does change up your attack patterns a lot for how you boost stuff. Gives you weird combos, but it does help you get your 5 attacks in a deck where you want to be as strong as possible. This, she's just in here as filler right now. It's a 18k if you're a Lilfa, and you can Soul Blast 1 to draw a card if it's called during the main phase. I mean, another thing that lets you get a big booty, and you want big booties in this deck, so it's also 23k grade 3 that can attack, so it's basically a booster. Yay. Speaking of big things, Kitty Eat Toast. Kitty Eat Toast is a 20k. Coney heard me say kitty. Coney wanted the kitty? Coney wanted to be in the video. You say hi to everyone? I'll say hi. Look at the TV. Look at the TV. Say hello. Get the kitty cat. It's kitty. Ooh. Yeah, you tell the kitty. You tell that kitty cat. It's Kitty eating toast. Yeah, real simple skill on this one. Just gets +10 when you plays her, so 20k, yay. This is probably your primary target to bounce with back in the hand, because unless they hit trigger, this is going to be swinging for a 10k guard. And then my final tech is this countercharge of grade 3, who serves 2 purposes. First of all, the countercharge, like I said, you do have 2 different main skills that let you counterblast, in addition to maybe using some of the cycle stuff. Then she gives you board resist, so they have to go after her first. Somehow this feels relevant. As far as the flow of the deck goes, there's a couple of basic combos that we can do. So first of all, the first and foremost thing is that you want to have a full board of all grade 2s and grade 3s, obviously. That said, a couple cute things you can do with them. As you know, Lilfa does have the cost of Soul Blasting a card to give all your grade 2s and grade 3s boosts. So, a cute thing that you can do to recycle those is this check, who says on place, put a Lilfa from where you drop them back in Soul, and then she gets a +5. So effectively, she's going to be a 15k that continuously makes your cost for Lilfa free. In addition to that, plus all the other things I'm about to talk about, Lilfa does have a bounce, so you can just put her back in hand and play her again next turn. Boom, boom, infinite cycle. Then for the deck itself, you typically have a 4-attack turn, so what you want to do is swing one side either boosted or non-boosted, depending on what you're going to bounce back to your hand. Swing with the Lilfa column. Lilfa's like, yo dog, what up? And then you either bounce once again, full column if you boosted, or if you didn't boost, boom, boom. That way you still have a booster on board for the 3rd attack. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. Of course, that could extend to 5 attacks with this chick, but she has to be in very specific spots, because both herself and Lilfa do call it an open circle, so you want to make sure you have open circles cleared. To do this, what I like to do is put her in the front row, so that way on Persona Ride turn, you don't have to boost your 1st attack, and you go boom, boom, boom. Activate Lilfa skill, And what you want to do is bounce this side and this side back to your hand. So that way, while you're still in the stack, while you're still in the middle of calling cards, you can activate this effect. Counterblast 1, shove in soul. Draw a card, which gives you even more targets. And then suddenly you have 2 more spots open in the front row. You go meow, meow, and guess what? You got 2 more attacks here. There's also potential with her in the back row, saying that you can go boom, 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 bounce. Actually, how you do that? Scratch that. You literally have to keep her in the front row circle in order to get a 5 attack combo. Oh yeah, I picked this up. We'll talk about her in a second. You can also, of course, extend by doing a... Oh, I forgot I put this in Sienna. There she is. So your grade 3 cycle card, the one that gets +10/+10, one of her abilities is that you're able to choose one of your rear guards, put it back in your hand. However, the important part is the overtrigger ability. If you happen to have an overtrigger in your drop zone, you could, as a one-time ability, choose a card with a grade equal to less than your Vanguard and call it to a circle. This does not have to call it an open circle, so if you do have a board where you just boost with everything, cool. What do I do over here? Guess what? This thing, she activates. Call a card. You did it. So you're able to get 5 attacks that way, but it's only if you have the overtrigger and drop. Unfortunately, as you see, in order to get a maximum of your 5 attacks, you do have to not boost your first attacks. Because if you boost them all, like, give a dog what up. There's another card. Cool. When you activate this, and you're like, ha ha ha, it is I. I hope you Persona Road, so otherwise this might not get through. Because that, you might want to keep your 15Ks in front and your weird 10K booster grade 3s in back. Speaking of this chick, let's talk about her for a second. So you know how she's able to call a card from your hand to an open back row circle once she's called? Open once again. This deck does not call over occupied circles, which kind of sucks. This is no way to get 5 attacks. In combo with this, you have to run these 2 specific cards. So like, literally every 5 attack combo resolves around this. Alright, so you did your attacks. Whee! Go ahead, boost this one. Doesn't matter. Whee! Whee! Okay, cool. Activate lethal skill. You just go bounce this column. Then activate this. So you go boom. Draw your card or whatever. This is going to be a call for Lilfa. And whatever else in your hand doesn't matter is going to be your call for the one check. Skill. Just call. You did it. You made a board again. Now you can do an attack. Unfortunately, with how specific it has to be in the back row, you're only going to be able to get a booster off this. So this card on its own will never get you another attacker. However, let's go back to the Rideline for a sec. There's one more thing I want to show off. Boop, 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 boop. When you ride on this, you're like, haha! And you get to call a card from your hand, any card that you want, to the back or center. Such as this card. Guess what she does? On place. You take a grade 3 thing from your hand, whomp, it goes to the back row. Unfortunately, this is not going to activate any of her other abilities because it is on ride, during ride phase. You either have to do it during main phase or battle phase in order to get one of these secondary skills here. But, you see this? See on your grade 2 turn? Okay, main phase. Cool, you got a cool grade 3 combo. Not sure what pieces exactly you could call with this, maybe using the grade 3 cycle card once again, but it is a fun way to fill up your board on turn 2, especially since when you ride on her with the grade 3, you're able to just bounce it back to your hand, rinse, repeat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was an idol in Pokemon, so. And final section, before I go into what I chose for the list for this vid, is thank you in part to Mellow Matt, who I basically saw his tweet of a tournament report with the deck, saw a bunch of text that I hadn't even thought about, and here's those cards I hadn't even thought about. Shout out to the boy. Of course, go subscribe if you haven't. There's your plug. First off, we got this new witch from the set, Starry Witchcraft Roseanne, who, when it attacks a grade 3 or greater, put a card from your hand into soul, check your top 2 cards, choose a card from among them, put it in hand, and put the rest at the bottom of the deck. If this was on top or on bottom, fantastic scry. However, this is still good because it essentially says you're going to be putting a card in soul for Lilfa or the grade 3 cycle card. You're going to be looking at your top 2 and basically adding one of those to your hand, which makes the put card to soul a complete wash. Filter cards once again, and bottom decking the thing that you don't care about, which gets you closer to like hitting a trigger or something, I don't know. Once again, I would like it for you to top or bottom. This is a grade 1 that does that, and we don't run this deck because that is a grade 1, which is the opposite of a grade 3. Gogokure here is Little Squirrel Girl, and she says that when she's placed by a Lilfa or some other deck, you're able to Soul Blast 2, Countercharge 1, and give her a +5. Unfortunately, she does have to be replaced by the ability of the Vanguard, which means it has to be on the battle phase. You can't do it main phase, just call her an activate skill. But it does make her an 18k for your 4th attack, and gives you a counter charge for the cost of Soul Blast 2. I'm a little up in the air about this resource management versus this chick who just on hit counter charge, but if you do have the soul to spare for some reason, there you go. Oh god, hold on. Hold on. It's these two. You fuse these two together. Just don't draw a card off it. Then the final one that he mentioned that I didn't mention just because, once again, these are expensive cards I don't think about. So help support me so I can afford expensive cards to make these videos better, I guess. Orbital. You know it, you love it. It's the card list you get 2 grade 3 or greater. Guess what you are in this deck? You run a lot of them. Once again, this is Lyrical Bastion. What do you do in a Bastion deck? Of course, if you don't have $10 billion for Orbital, I would recommend running the Chalice as your Regalis piece for your deck because it does activate Persona Ride. Once again, you want to be as powerful as possible for your 4 to 5 attacks. Persona Ride is going to do that. Persona Ride is going to give you some nice extra powers. I don't think I can make a good transition out of the other Giantess content. Alright, so as you see, this is basically what we came up with for the build for the deck. Going into the choices, of course, as we just mentioned, in order to get a bunch of power, we have things like the kitty cat, we have the rabbits, we have, what else is the animal in here? Is any other animal that powers stuff up? Well, using 1 copy of the mount, because your soul does matter. Like I said, you want to keep on soul blasting the Lilfa for the grade 2 ability, and that's why we of course maxed her out, along with the multi-attacking card, because we want to hit basically 5 attacks as much as possible. So we run our grade 2 multi-attacker and 3 of the cycle grade 3, and 2 of the cycle grade 2. Then we got a decent amount of counter charge running with the Squirrel Girl and the Ice Cream Girl, who is going to be able to protect your field as well, so we do want to run more of her, because she is a little more useful than Soul Blast 2. Counter charge 1 for a little power. Couple Scry Girls, thank you for that suggestion. I don't know why I didn't even think about that. Rounding off the main deck with 1 copy of a Guardian, because while it is good, it is situational on your board, so if you're playing against a control deck, it's not going to do anything. Then, trigger lineup finally. I don't address triggers at all in the main section. Of course, we're running a lot of crits and heals, that's no big deal. Over trigger, you can be a little decisive on this one. I know that like the blue one's going to be really good because you're already theoretically gaining a decent amount of power in the deck, and this lets you recycle some cards, which is always nice. Or maybe you could go with red over trigger because your attack pattern in this is typically 1 column Vanguard, the same column we stood in the last column, unless you have one of your multi-attack things. So like having red give something if it's attack for guaranteed is always nice. However, I think that the Lyrical Overtrigger falls into the same category as Darkseid, and why would you not run it? Why would you not say for the rest of the game, all my rear guards are going to get plus 10k? That makes insane numbers. Once again, this deck already gives you a decent amount of pressure early game, so just hitting that at any point in time, smooth sailing from there. Then finally, last trigger is a front trigger, is multi-attack deck. You run a lot of non-shield units, so I want to get the one that gives you more shield, and the one that lets you benefit the most out of the 4th to 5th attack. Oh god, your flavor text. A dream has to be massive, huge, just like me. Not like me, I'm a small, I'm like 150-ish subs. Give me more subs, if you like what I do. And subscribe to the channel and stuff. So that is my glorious Giantess deck. Outside of this one. I really need to show you guys a premium Nightmare Doll deck. I know we just talked about Direful Dolls, I can't wait to do that. I could probably show off Tamayura with her normal Direful Dolls, or I just print out proxies for Direful Dolls, and I'll try to find some opponents who want to test you guys' energy so I could get you some gameplay video for that. But this is the one that's out now. This is Lyrical. This is the big Lyrical Girl. We'll have the other Lyrical Girl soon because I like the Gorgon. I've been testing her a lot, and she is a lot of fun. Very interesting defensive deck. Probably one of the most interesting twists on the game since Prison, which, as you guys know, is probably my favorite control variant in all of Cardfight Vanguard, being that big Tutto Gabor with all your resources. What do you guys think? Do you like Girly Bastion? Do you play normal Bastion? I haven't actually touched Bastion since God knows how long. You know I'm a Grand Grace player for that set. Or, of course, the OG Avatar. Which of the idols is your favorite? And why is it Lilfa? Because it should be Lilfa. I'll give you a hint, there's 2 acceptable answers. It should be either Lilfa or Siana. Answers to all this and more, of course, are down in the comment section below. Be sure to contribute to that if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, always embrace the... I didn't shill. I shilled at the beginning. Can I shill again? Raise Energy, Code Skyridge, save 15% on all your Raise Energy orders. Good energy drink. Helps you be not like this. I don't have any Raise right now, so that's why I'm tired. Check out repsports.com to order online. And of course my page on TCG Player. Making lots of sales. Thank you so much. For honest, by the time this goes live, I might have 1,000 sales on tcgplayer.com/skybridgegames, so be sure to check that out. Help support me on the channel so I can bring you more awesome card game and coaster content. But I already said it. Always embrace the infinite. Let's go to the deck. Let's go to the deck. This is gonna be a clip. I guess I didn't record enough transitions.